Hello. Hi, it's Mira here from Buzz Career Counselling. What I'm going to be doing is every day at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be coming on here, um, and I'm doing it in Zoom so that we can record it easily and hopefully post for other people to have a look later. Basically, this is an employment chat. So I really hope that we can get some interaction. Now, already it's sparked a little bit of interest in that someone has let me know about some jobs coming up locally here on the Sunshine Coast. But if you're not on the Sunshine Coast and you know of some jobs that sort of short-term jobs that are coming up, that would be fantastic if you can let me know through my Mira Miller Facebook page. Okay, so basically today what I'm wanting to talk about, we spoke about the other day, just sort of getting our mindset calm and to be able to have that clarity to move forward. So at the moment in Australia, there are not that many changes happening, but potentially to the world of work. We can see in other countries that is not the case, that in fact people are, sort of forced lockdown and so changes to work have happened, and in some cases perhaps quite drastically. So what I'm just trying to do is to get the ball rolling. I'm a bit of a forward thinker, and so I like to sort of be planning ahead so that there's no chaos when things happen. So today, I really wanted to just get people to consider what their current situation is. There's, at the moment in our country, there's a lot of conflicting information coming at us. Things are changing by the hour, and we're not quite sure what's even going to happen. We can see the other countries, but will that happen to us? So I think initially, before you sort of take any steps or action, or sort of be stressing too much, is to actually just to be looking at what is my current situation. And for you, this may be a little bit post today, maybe down the track a little bit. But I think firstly, if you're following through these videos, I think firstly just to take stock of what is your current situation. So for me, which I've sort of been doing this in the last couple of weeks, for me it is, okay, I'm a career counsellor, so I would be able to set this up at home as I have. So I have, sent out information to all my clients and said, as of Monday, I started working from home. And that is just sort of getting me in place at the moment. So what's your current situation? I've heard, what was it? Electrician, I think, or plumber, that they couldn't, that, there's no actual changes at the moment in Australia due to, for workers. Most people are sort of continually going about their business at the moment, but they couldn't actually get the resources that they needed, so the materials that they needed. So their work was going to be impacted far earlier than perhaps you would be expecting, just simply because we can't get materials in from other countries. So because it's a global situation, and we seem to be towards the later part of what's going on, which is potentially a good thing because we can learn from others. But yeah, you might be a bit surprised about how your industry could be affected. So I want you to sort of take a look. I've just got notes to remind me today, to take stock of your current workplace and what changes might happen there. I know some workplaces have already started these conversations, but if yours hasn't, maybe prompt them to sort of, share some information with you as a worker. So, because as I said yesterday, it's not just you who's off work in situations that you might have had in the past. It's actually employers and countries and internationally. So it's everybody's will be having these thoughts in their head. So perhaps just encourage some open communication if you're not getting that yet, just so everyone can have knowledge, so that then you can make informed choices and decisions. So what's your current situation? For you, that might be nothing's changed. What's Mira even talking about? Hopefully. But then also, what's your potential work situation? So looking at, if there was more sort of restrictions, perhaps one that might, come into play a little bit earlier is the lockdown of schools. So what is, what's going to happen to you in your work situation if schools get shut down? I know that'll impact a lot of people who, will need to be at home. So we're going to look at lots of different sort of scenarios and solutions and things like that as we go through. But today I just want you to first of all, I just want you to consider your current situation. So what potentially could happen in your workplace? As things sort of evolve and roll out in our country, what little changes are going to start happening to you in your workplace? If you're a casual, perhaps, are you one of the ones who goes first? Or if you're more hands-on, are you going to need to be staying there as long as possible so that they can still be, working? Your employers are going to be, considering business as well. They're not wanting to close earlier than they'll need to, excuse me. And so when you're sort of considering those, just use this time for sort of gathering that information. So no need to stress, no need to sort of try to start solving everything immediately. I think just if we can take this step by step and just gather the information that's actually factual. So the other part of that information might be the government's sort of rolling out, and these will change as we go on, but the government sort of looking at that assistance. Okay, am I eligible for some of that money? Is my employer eligible? I've seen that apprentices and trainees, 21,000 was it? Oh, I won't quote. I won't get into that. But there's some money in place to support employers, to support employees. So perhaps you're one of those people who will benefit from some of that funding, and help your employers access this and find this information if they need a bit of support. If we find anything, then post it on. Or share it with us so that we can sort of spread it out as well. So make sure everyone's getting, what they can in order to support their workers. Don't just leave it to the employers because they're struggling as well. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is that there's someone has posted from locally, Oz has posted, it's from Events for Greater Good, and I'll put the link up. But if you're someone who already is starting to consider the loss of your job, and you can see that it's going to sort of perhaps be gone soon, then there are some jobs floating around. So if you hear of these jobs, or someone who needs to employ someone, it's may just be short term, but if you hear of anything like this, then can you share it back on the on Mira Miller Facebook page? If you can share it back to there, and then everyone can sort of access it, because there's going to be an increase in need in some areas, and there's certainly a decrease in others. So things like deliveries, and I noticed that someone mentioned Coles or Woolworths were not delivering, or only to certain people and things like that. I don't know if that's factual, but there's certainly going to be a really high demand on some services and some jobs that perhaps are not able to accommodate. So there might be a chance for you to sort of get a little bit of a increase in income at the moment while you can, to sort of tie you over for when you haven't got that income coming through. So that's just an idea. But we'll talk more about that as we go through. But I just wanted to sort of announce that there are already people considering what jobs are quickly needing someone right now. So if you could benefit from that, certainly do. And if you can share, certainly do. And you don't have to be here on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. You know, just share it amongst your friends, and, you know, make sure that if there's opportunities that people are actually going to be seeing them and accessing them. If you've got any other information, also, if you're someone who's a bit of a researcher and you know, enjoys finding information for people, if you've got some time, we'd love some information on the government assistance. I've started looking up a few things this morning. So if you've got some links or things like that, I'd really love you to be sharing that through the page as well. Just so people can be, I always think that knowledge is power. And if, you know, rather than sort of stressing and not knowing what's going on, because there's a lot going on, there's a lot of changes going on, there's also health. You know, I'm looking at the sort of secondary part, which is income and employment, but, you know, most people's number one is going to be health. So, and well-being, and making sure family are okay and parents are okay and things like that. So that is people's number one. I'm just trying to ease that number two, which is employment. And for some people, that sort of financial stress may override, and I just don't want that to happen. So if we can try to help and support people in, you know, what's out there, what's available, opportunities to make some extra money. So start thinking, because as we go through, I want to help people sort of come up with some solutions of how they might be able to still be having an income, but perhaps not just how they're traditionally doing it, or what are some options for them. So for now, all I want you to do is to just gather some information. That's it. So just gather, what is your current work situation? What are your potential work situations? Start the conversations with your workplace and colleagues and boss, and try to sort of encourage that transparency, because really we are all in this together, and I think we will thrive much better if we can work as a community, and as your workplace can work as a community. So support your boss. Don't make it all up to them to do everything, because they're trying to manage themselves as well and their families. So if you can find some information and share it with your boss, then I'm sure they'd be appreciative. And, you know, and inform yourself on what's going on and what's out there and what's available. So if everyone kind of takes a little bit of responsibility and, you know, work as a group, work as a community, then we're going to be able to get through this much more calmly. And of course, as we know, that when we're calm, our health is better. So, so do your bit of research. If you find anything, please share it so that we can all, you know, access it. I'm trying to look for, you know, credible sources of information, because there's a lot out there, and it's very hard to actually know whether things are factual or just someone sitting at home bored trying to write a story. So try and keep them fairly credible, or keep them credible, so that we can you know, sort of trust what's being said as much as we can. So yeah, so today is gathering information. What's my current situation, and what are my potential situations, without stressing. It's just a matter of gathering the information, putting it all down. What am I dealing with? What might I be dealing with? And then we're going to look at how can I deal with that. So stay calm. And thank you for watching Employment Chat. And please share this with other people, because I hate to think of someone who's sitting at home by themselves, stressing out that they might lose their job. That's what this Employment Chat is all about, is to help everybody feel like we're okay, we're there, we're all going to support each other. So please share it. You never know who's sitting at home ticking this all through by themselves. So let's tick it through together and support each other. Okay, have a good day. And for those who are still working, keep working, and thank you very much. And I will talk to you again very soon. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you tomorrow for Employment Chat. Bye.